Achtung! Obergruppenführer, we are making progress, yeah? Sorry, too much man in the high castle. I'll make this one short, guys. You know how I said how a trickle can become a flood? Someone said, by the way, the mic's disrupting my hand motions. I'll try and make it work. You know how I said a trickle can become a flood when it comes to the Israel-Palestine conflict and Western nations shifting their position? I made a video, for example, on Bogota where global South countries led by China decided that they're going to get together for a summit specifically to address the Israel-Palestine conflict and what they can do, what they can impose on Israel, what actions they can take to put pressure on them to end this crisis in Gaza. Right. Well, after that, Western nations led by the UK and France then made demands of their own to Israel, saying, "Yeah, we also think you need to end the crisis in Gaza. Otherwise, we're going to take punitive measures." I know lots of you are going to say something that I acknowledge, which is this is all just sort of playing catch up. Countries not wanting to be on the wrong side of history, not wanting to incriminate themselves, not wanting to be held liable or complicit in a G-side. I get that. I get that. But I'm talking analytically. This is a shift in foreign policy position of these countries that is very significant, potentially will change the world we all live in. After that gathering of Western-led nations, then France came out and said, "Oh, we are going to recognize the French state, yeah, baguette, croissant." Sorry. And then the UK came out and said, "Well, lads, we're going to recognize this state, yeah." Sorry, even more sorry. Then Canada said, "Top of the morning." That's Irish. Canada basically said, "We're going to recognize the Palestinian state. That's what it's all about." That's all I know from How I Met Your Mother. Now, guys, Germany, not fully, but they have done something. Hear this. Foreign Minister Johann Wadephul of Germany was full of good news. Sorry, it's really late in the day and I've just lost it completely. Germany just announced that while Germany won't immediately recognize Palestine as a state, the process towards recognition, they say, must begin now. You know how big a shift that is for the German state, guys? Like, those who don't follow geopolitics, fine. I get you. Let me just bring you up to speed. Germany has big fat war guilt from World War II, okay, which means blind to Israeli actions, blank checks on the daily. For them to say recognition of a Palestinian state needs to start now, that's like I don't know what it's like. That's like Germany giving up industrialization, or Mercedes Benz closing every factory in Germany, or Volkswagen turning their name into Fluffy Kitty Wagon. I don't know. Like, it's just crazy, right? That World War II guilt to be overcome by something, by an assessment that the German state actually benefits more from drifting away from Israel towards a more neutral position. They aren't neutral, by the way. I'm saying they're drifting towards neutral from pro Israeli, is crazy. The powerhouse of Western Europe, Germany. Germany has historically insisted that Palestinian statehood could only come at the end of peace negotiations between the two for a two-state solution, which is, it has to be said, folly, right? It's absolutely rackwurst. I think there's some German food. I don't know. Basically, they said, we will recognize the natives of the land when the occupiers of them, the occupiers who have their jackboot on the neck of the natives, give them permission to actually engage with the rest of the world. When the thief feels safe enough to give permission, give a voice to the person he stole the house from, when do you think that's going to be, guys? When do you think that's going to be? Right? Leave it to Israel, and Palestine will never be recognized. That's their ideal. So today, Wadephul of Germany, the German official, warned that if Israel moves forward with annexation threats in the West Bank and the Gaza crisis is not addressed, oh my God, they'll be forced to recognize the Palestinian state. It's a really weird sort of threat, because recognition of a Palestinian state means you're sort of giving justice and rights and a voice to the natives. So using as a threat against the oppressors is a bit weird, we're not getting into that now. We're talking about Europe shifting in its stance. All these European countries using Palestinian recognition, I acknowledge. We'll talk about that another day. Using it as a bargaining chip is very grim, but analytically, not activistically. Yeah, sure, it works. Analytically, not activistically, We're talking about trajectory, and the trajectory of these formerly blindly pro-Israeli states moving in this direction, talking even about recognizing Palestine, is an insane amount of progress. Canada just announced it will recognize the Palestinian state. I just made a video on that in September, joining Norway, Ireland, Spain, Britain, France, all of them in September now. Why September, as some have asked? Well, the United Nations General Assembly, where peoples from all nations recognized on earth will get together in their General Assembly meeting, the 80th in world history. And here, loads of countries are looking like they're going to pop off, bruv. They're going to be like, yo, Palestine, free Palestine. Okay, they're not going to be like that. But they're going to do something, is what I'm trying to say. Now, the video after this one, hopefully, we'll talk about another couple of European states that are also making moves in this direction. Pretty exciting, I'm not going to lie. Unbiased, but excited. Now, the news of nations recognizing Palestine is coming so fast. I'm struggling to keep up. Okay, it's like 9 o'clock here, and I'm sitting here not with my family, making news about making a news video. News Baba has to. News Baba has to. Someone called me News Baba, saying you could be like News Daddy if you stick to it and you continue informing the people. And he suggested News Baba because I don't know, Arab Asian sort of equivalent of Daddy. I don't know. It sounds catchy though, for sure. News Baba. Let me know if that sounds like a catchy name. At the moment, I'm just Mahfouz Talukta, and Talukta is a mission of a name to say, and Mahfouz is a mission of a name to say for many. Anyway, sorry. Wadephul specifically noted that Israel is finding itself increasingly in the minority internationally in terms of diplomatic positioning, especially after the recent UN conference on a two-state solution. A United Nations conference was held talking about a two-state solution. Saudi Arabia and France came together. Saudi is already American aligned, and France is the Western world. Them two got together and said, let's talk about a two-state solution. And the US said, screw you. And Israel said, screw you. That was not actually a middle finger, by the way. That's a substitute halal middle finger, because it's not actually one. They boycotted it. I don't know why I said it like that. The US and Israel boycotted conversations of a two-state solution. So, if you're not going to even be in the room, don't be shocked Pikachu face when people decide stuff that you're not happy with. Especially if you're slaughtering women and children and people are like, you know what? You need to stop slaughtering women and children. You being shocked and offended and talking about how it's anti-Semitic is a bit much. I don't think most people are, the gloves are off, the mask is off, the victim card's expired, whatever you want to call it. Things are really changing. For better or worse, I'm being neutral here, apparently. Now, the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Very dark stuff. The ongoing annexation threats from parts of the Israeli government to the West Bank. Very dark stuff. They are leading to growing international pressure. It has to be acknowledged. Germany is essentially saying the status quo, even for Germany, pro-Israel, blindly pro-Israel Germany, war guilt Germany, even they are saying the status quo that we set up, that we're comfortable with, because it's our status quo. This mic, I'm gonna just move this mic out of the way. I'm getting frustrated. Is getting in the way of my gesticulations. Look out, gesticulations mean hand movements. Even Germany's saying is unsustainable. You know how crazy is that? That's mad lad germs. Mad lad Germany. Anyway, if negotiations don't start immediately, Germany says, on negotiating a Gaza peace settlement, then they're going to recognize Palestine. It's such a weird framing, but yeah, there you go. Europe's largest economy, Germany, might join the wave of recognition, which would be incredible, unbelievable for the pro-Palestine camp. For better, doesn't matter how much people think it's important or it's not. I'm telling you, analytically, it is important. There's top 4 pro-Israel supporting states. If they get knocked out and they become even anywhere near neutral on the Israel-Palestine conflict, it will change the game. France and the UK, 2 out of the 4 already said we're going to recognize. Under conditions, fine, whatever. Germany is now sort of flirting with the idea. The US, last bastion. So it's incredible progress. It's not just about Palestine and Israel anymore. This is about an entire international order shifting from beneath our feet. And my phone's shifting from reality into some sort of weird side alternate dimension. We're shifting from the unipolar world order where the West was unified into this multipolar world order where the Western foreign policy, at least foreign policy is fragmenting North America or just United States being one part and then Western Europe being another. Time will tell how things turn out. And I, for one, will be here, hopefully, to bring you the news and the analysis without the Western